Have you ever noticed something painful about love? The more you chase a man who is pulling away, the less he seems to feel your presence. You explain more, you cry more, you send longer messages, you try to make him understand what his distance is doing to you. You hope that if you can find the perfect words, the perfect tone, the perfect moment, something in him will finally soften. But instead, he becomes quieter, more distant, more irritated, more unavailable, and slowly, without even realizing it, you stop feeling like a woman who is loved. You start feeling like a woman who is begging to be chosen. This is where many women lose themselves in a relationship or marriage, not because they are weak, not because they have no self-respect, but because they are scared, scared of losing him, scared of silence, scared that if they stop trying, everything will finally fall apart. So they chase the conversation, they chase the apology, they chase the reassurance, they chase the version of him that used to feel close. They chase the man he was in the beginning, hoping he is still somewhere underneath the coldness. But here is the painful truth. A man who is already pulling away often does not feel your love more clearly when you chase harder. He feels pressure, he feels watched, he feels emotionally cornered. And even if your pain is real, the way you reach for him can make him pull back even more. This does not mean your feelings are wrong. It means the pattern is working against you, because when you keep chasing him, he never has to feel the space your absence would create. He never has to wonder where your energy went. He never has to sit with the silence that appears when you stop filling every empty place with your emotions. The day you stop chasing him is not the day you stop loving him. It is the day you stop abandoning yourself to keep him close. And that is the day he finally starts to feel your absence. Not because you are playing a game, not because you are trying to punish him, not because you want to manipulate his emotions, but because your energy changes. A woman who chases from fear carries a different energy than a woman who becomes calm enough to return to herself. When you chase, your world revolves around his mood. If he is warm, you feel safe. If he is distant, you panic. If he replies, you breathe. If he ignores you, your mind starts creating painful stories. Before you know it, your emotional life is being controlled by how much attention he gives you. That is not love. That is fear wearing the mask of love. Fear makes you over-explain. Fear makes you accept less than you need. Fear makes you apologize just to end the silence. Fear makes you lower your standards because losing him feels scarier than staying unseen. But the more you chase, the more he can take your presence for granted, because he knows you will reach out. He knows you will try to fix it. He knows you will carry the emotional weight. He knows that even if he withdraws, you will come looking for him. And sometimes, not always consciously, that creates comfort in him. He does not have to face the distance because you keep closing it. He does not have to feel the emptiness because you keep filling it. He does not have to wonder what life feels like without your effort because your effort is always there. This is why your absence matters, not the absence of love, the absence of chasing, the absence of panic, the absence of emotional pressure, the absence of constantly proving that you are still there. When you stop chasing, something shifts. The relationship suddenly has room to reveal the truth. If he truly cares, he will feel the difference. If he has been hiding behind your effort, he will notice the silence. If he has been taking your emotional labor for granted, he will feel the space where your pursuit used to be. And if he does not notice at all, that also tells you something important. Because your chasing may have been hiding a reality you were afraid to face. Sometimes a woman thinks she is keeping the relationship alive when she is actually keeping herself emotionally exhausted inside something that has stopped meeting her back. That is why stopping the chase is so powerful. It does not only show him your absence, it shows you the truth. It shows you whether he reaches when you stop reaching. It shows you whether he misses your presence or only enjoyed your availability. It shows you whether the relationship has two people in it or just one woman trying hard enough for both. And that truth may hurt, but truth is kinder than slow emotional starvation. because chasing someone who keeps pulling away slowly breaks your sense of worth. It makes you feel like love is something you have to earn every day. It makes you wonder if you would finally be enough if you were calmer, prettier, sweeter, quieter, more patient, more understanding. But a man's distance is not always proof that you are lacking something. Sometimes it is proof that the dynamic has become unhealthy. Sometimes it is proof that he has grown comfortable receiving love without returning emotional presence. Sometimes it is proof that he needs to feel what happens when you stop carrying what he refuses to carry. The day you stop chasing him, you begin to reclaim your emotional dignity. You stop making your peace dependent on his reaction. You stop begging for conversations that should happen naturally in a loving relationship. You stop performing pain just to convince him that your heart matters. You stop trying to be understood by someone who keeps choosing not to listen. And this does not mean you become cold. It means you become clear. And when a woman makes that decision, her energy changes in a way a man can feel. He may not understand it at first. He may think you are just upset. He may expect you to come back to the same pattern. He may wait for the long message, the emotional conversation, the questions, the tears, the effort. But then he notices something. You are not chasing. You are not forcing. You are not trying to pull emotion out of him. You are not making your whole day depend on whether he gives you warmth. And that is when your absence begins to speak. Because for the first time, he has to feel the space he created. He has to sit with the quiet that used to be filled by your reaching. He has to notice that the woman who once fought for every conversation. If you're tired of chasing his attention and reacting from fear, I created the Marriage Restoration Playbook to help you rebuild emotional safety, restore connection, and stop losing yourself in the process. You can find it through the link in the description and pinned comment. Is no longer begging for one. He has to wonder why your energy feels different. Sometimes that is what finally wakes a man up, not because he loves drama, not because he needs fear, but because distance often becomes invisible to the person creating it when the other person keeps trying to close the gap. If you always run after him, he never fully sees how far away he has gone. But when you stop running, the distance becomes visible. This is not about pretending you do not care. You do care, maybe deeply, maybe more than he understands, maybe enough that stopping the chase feels like tearing your own heart in half. But caring does not mean chasing. Loving someone does not mean abandoning your nervous system. Wanting a marriage to heal does not mean becoming desperate enough to carry the whole relationship alone. There is a kind of love that fights from panic, and there is a kind of love that stands in truth. Panic says, I must keep reaching, or I will lose him. Truth says, if he only stays because I chase, then I am not truly being chosen. Panic says, maybe one more message will make him understand. Truth says, a man who wants to understand will not need me to break myself explaining the same pain forever. Panic says, I cannot let him feel distance. Truth says, maybe he needs to feel the distance he has been creating. And this is where a woman becomes powerful. Not loud, not bitter, not cruel. Powerful in the quiet way. The kind of power that comes from saying, I still love you, but I will not chase you while you keep stepping away. The kind of power that comes from choosing calm over collapse. Because the cycle has probably looked like this. He pulls away, you feel anxious, you reach for him. He feels pressured, he pulls away more, you feel more anxious, you try harder, he becomes colder, you become more afraid, and the relationship turns into emotional survival instead of emotional safety. Someone has to interrupt that cycle, and often the only person you can control is you. You cannot force him to open his heart, you cannot force him to communicate, you cannot force him to value your tears, you cannot force him to become the man you hoped he would be. But you can stop chasing from fear. You can stop explaining your pain to someone who already heard you. You can stop making your emotional state depend on whether he finally acts right. You can stop turning his distance into a statement about your worth. And when you do, something inside you begins to return. At first, it may feel uncomfortable. You may feel the urge to message him. You may want to check on him. You may want to ask what he is thinking. You may want to make sure he has not forgotten you. That urge is normal. When you have been chasing for a long time, peace can feel like danger at first. Silence can feel like abandonment. Calm can feel like giving up. But calm is not giving up. Calm is the space where you can finally hear yourself again. And when you stop chasing, you start noticing how much of yourself you lost in the chase. That realization can hurt, but it is also the beginning of your healing. Because you cannot rebuild a healthy marriage or relationship while you are disappearing inside it. You cannot restore connection by becoming less and less yourself. You cannot create emotional safety by living in emotional panic. The day you stop chasing him is the day you stop teaching him that your love requires no effort from him. You stop teaching him that he can withdraw, and you will do all the emotional work. You stop teaching him that his silence controls the atmosphere of your life. And you start teaching yourself something new, that you can love deeply and still have boundaries, that you can want restoration and still require respect, that you can miss him and still not chase him, that you can hope for him to come closer without dragging him toward you, that you can be soft without being desperate, that you can be loyal without betraying yourself. That is the woman he will feel the absence of, the woman who still has love, but no longer allows fear to lead her, the woman who still cares, but no longer collapses when he pulls away, the woman who still hopes, but no longer abandons herself to keep hope alive. That kind of absence is different. It is not empty, it is full of dignity, and when a man has been taking your emotional presence for granted, dignity can feel louder than any argument. He may not say it right away. He may not even show it at first. Some men respond to a woman's calm by acting colder because they are used to her chasing. Some men test the silence. Some men wait to see if the old pattern will return, but do not rush to fill the space. Let the space speak. Let him feel what he has been creating. Let him experience the relationship without you constantly holding it together. Let him notice whether he misses your energy, your warmth, your care, your presence, your effort. And while he is noticing, you should be noticing too. Because there is a difference between a man who misses control and a man who misses connection. A man who misses control wants you back in the old position, anxious, available, waiting, easy to reassure with a few words. A man who misses connection begins to take responsibility. He becomes more honest. He communicates more clearly. He shows consistency. He does not just pull you back with temporary warmth. He starts participating in repair. That difference is important because you are not stopping the chase so you can be pulled into the same cycle again. You are stopping the chase so the relationship can either rise into something healthier or reveal that it cannot. If he truly loves you but has become distant, your calm absence may give him the space to feel what he has been avoiding. And if he does nothing, then your absence will show you what your chasing was covering up. Because the day you stop chasing him is not only about him feeling your absence, it is about you feeling your own presence again. The presence of the woman you were before fear made you smaller. The woman who had dreams, energy, standards, softness, laughter, peace. The woman who could love without begging. The woman who could care without disappearing. She is still there. She may be tired. She may be hurt. She may be buried under months or years of trying too hard. But she is still there. And every time you choose not to chase from fear, you bring her back a little more. You bring back your peace. You bring back your dignity. You bring back your emotional clarity. You bring back the part of you that remembers love should not require self-abandonment. So what should you do instead of chasing? You pause. You breathe before you react. You stop sending the message that comes from panic. You stop asking the same question when his behavior has already answered it. You stop making your pain louder in hopes that he will finally care. You let your calm become your boundary. You simply change the pattern. You give less energy to fear and more energy to yourself. You stop chasing the conversation and start observing whether he is willing to have one. You stop chasing reassurance and start asking whether the relationship is emotionally safe. You stop chasing his attention and start rebuilding your own stability. You stop chasing the old version of him and start looking honestly at the man in front of you now. That is where wisdom begins. Love without wisdom can make you stay in places that keep breaking you, but wisdom without bitterness can help you love in a way that no longer destroys you. You do not need to become hard. You do not need to hate him. You do not need to pretend the love was not real. You only need to stop making your love an excuse to abandon yourself. If he comes closer because your absence woke him up, let his actions show you whether the change is real. So watch consistency, watch humility, watch whether he can hear your pain without turning it into an attack. Watch whether he makes room for repair, not just reunion, because restoration is not simply coming back together. Restoration is rebuilding what was damaged with truth, safety, and responsibility. And if he does not come closer, you still win yourself back. That may not be the ending your heart wanted, but it may be the beginning your soul needed, because a woman who stops chasing begins to see clearly. She sees that love should not feel like constant emotional pursuit. She sees that her worth was never proven by his attention. She sees that peace is not the same as losing him. She sees that sometimes the scariest silence is also the doorway back to herself. So if you are exhausted from chasing, tired of explaining, tired of feeling like your heart is always reaching for someone who keeps moving away, hear this carefully. You do not have to chase to prove your love. You do not have to panic to protect the relationship. You do not have to lose yourself to be chosen. The day you stop chasing him may be the day he finally starts to feel your absence. But more importantly, it may be the day you finally start to feel your own presence again. And that is where everything begins to change.